please divorce your husband while visiting the OBGYN after discovering I was pregnant? A nurse pulled me aside when we were alone. What? Why do I have to hear this from you? Your husband? What the nurse began to tell me was a shocking revelation I had never anticipated. My name is Lily Brown, a 30-year-old office worker. I met my husband Ethan, who's 2 years older than me, at work, and we married 7 years ago. Currently, we live with our 5-year-old daughter, Fenley. However, things haven't been great between Ethan and me for about 3 years. Mr. P-Forced, the beginning of our issues revolved around choosing a kindergarten for Mally. We had disagreements. He wanted her to attend a kindergarten with the marching band since he wished she'd learn an instrument. After visiting a few schools, I recommended the one where Mally seemed the happiest during her trial day. I want Mally to develop her senses from a young age. But it's Mally who's attending the kindergarten, right? I think it's best if she enjoys it. She might enjoy it once she starts, but not many kids from that kindergarten go on to the same elementary school. We need to consider that. Enough. She's going to the kindergarten I choose. Without a proper discussion, we ended up sending her to a kindergarten he preferred, but it turned out to be more challenging than anticipated. There were no male teachers at Mally's kindergarten, and fathers were often asked to help out with kindergarten as part of the Dad's Club. Initially, Ethan was like, helping out now and then is fine, but he quickly became disinterested after participating in only 2 events. Going out of his way to head to kindergarten on his days off started to feel like a chore for Ethan, and gradually, he began to drag his feet about it. You know, Gummy is sad when you're not there for her during these events. It's such a hassle. They're asking for help every event, and even if you don't attend every time. I think Molly would be happy if you showed up once in a while. Okay. I'll be there next time. But he never actually attended any kindergarten event after that. He began to avoid even talking about the kindergarten, and to date he hasn't even seen Mally perform in the marching band, something he was so eager for. And for Mally, seeing your dad meant seeing him lounging around at home on weekends. She started saying Daddy's just someone who sleeps at home. Moreover, recently he's been coming home late at night, and when he did speak to me, he often hesitated. Though we didn't talk about the kindergarten, we did have conversations about other things and had moments of intimacy, so I believe the relationship could still be repaired. Recently, I've been feeling a bit off, nauseous and flu-like symptoms. Initially, I thought I was just feeling under the weather, but it's unusual for me to feel this way for several days. So I bought a pregnancy test from the drugstore. The test came back positive. I was genuinely happy to realize a new life was growing inside me and told Ethan about our second child when he got home. However, his reaction was not as I'd expected. "You sure you're pregnant? Could it be a mistake?" Well, I've only taken an over-the-counter test, so it's not definitive, but I'm pretty sure I am. Oh man, seriously, do you have a reason not to be happy about my pregnancy? No, it's not that. Is it the age gap with Molly? They'll be 6 years apart and raising them will take longer, with overlapping school years perhaps. It's not about that. That's then what? If there's something you're worried about, I'd like you to share it with me. Look, let's set that aside for now. Let's go to the hospital to confirm that pregnancy. Yes, I think we should get it checked out. I'll take a day off next week and go. I'll come with you, I'm worried, and if the hospital is crowded and we can't get back in time for Maylee's return from kindergarten, I can pick her up. Sounds good. Taking Ethan's suggestion, I booked an appointment at the same hospital where I'd given birth to Molly 5 years ago. I felt comfortable with the doctor there. After dropping Mally at kindergarten, Ethan and I headed to the OB/GYN. That's like 5 years ago. The waiting room was packed. It seems like it's going to take some time. Yeah, I guess so. Just having finished routine tests like blood work, I was chatting with him while waiting for the consultation. Suddenly, a young nurse approached. Mrs. Brown, do you have a moment? Yes, AT, finally, the consultation. Can I go into the examination room with you? No, it'll just be you first. The nurse signaled for me to follow her, leaving Ethan still seated. She looked quite young, probably in her early 20s. I doubt she was here 5 years ago when I gave birth to Molly. Peaceably glanced inside the consultation room and seated across from her, the nurse looked a bit puzzled. But did something come up in the test that wasn't good? No, it's not about that. I just wanted to have a word with you. What is it? Each gentleman from earlier, your husband. It seems like it took her a while to muster up the courage to ask that. Yes, he's my husband. Why? So you two are married? And of course. And his name is Ethan Brown, correct? Yes? Most of her questions were about Ethan. Did something happen with my husband? There's something I'm a bit concerned about. Well, we gave birth to our daughter here 5 years ago. If you ask Mrs. Harris at the reception, the nurse there, she might remember my husband. I felt a bit uneasy, as if I was being probed and couldn't hide my irritation. However, the nurse seemed even more agitated and began to speak with an even more intense tone. I'm aware that what I'm about to say is not appropriate professionally, but there's something I desperately need you to know. What do I need to know? Please divorce him immediately. What? Why are you telling me this? I'm sorry, but I truly believe you should divorce him. Do you even realize what you're saying? I do, but considering you and your children, I can't remain silent. Wait, calm down. Can you explain everything step by step? Yes. Until a month ago, I was working in another OB/GYN clinic in Nebraska. Her story was this. At that clinic, there was a couple. Well, they weren't officially married, so maybe a couple is the right term. The man present for the birth was my husband. His name was Ethan Brown, and another man looked and seemed just like him, even in age and build, appeared at the hospital with a different woman. She was shocked to see this, and that's why she's talking to me now. When I met him a month ago, he said it was their first child, but in the delivery room, he was so adept at comforting the expecting mother, giving her a drink with a straw, and providing excellent report to alleviate her pain. I thought, wow, not everyone is this capable from the get-go, but despite being so dedicated, he mentioned they hadn't legally registered their marriage yet. It was very memorable. So you wanted to talk to me because of that. It didn't seem likely that they were two different people with the same name, but in the waiting room, you two looked so much like a married couple. I wondered why you weren't the woman from back then. Why did you advise me to divorce him? I can't stand people who appear to be playing two fields. It's a personal matter, but I recently broke off my engagement because my fiancé cheated on me. I've grown to have a strong aversion to men who cheat. That must have been tough for you. No, I should have just kept quiet, especially since you're pregnant and it's a crucial time for you. I'm fine. I'm glad I could hear what you had to say, even if it was unexpected. I might have said too much. I apologize. At that, she bowed repeatedly and exited the room. After talking to the nurse, I must have looked pretty shaken up. He then approached me asking, "Are you okay?" But even his voice felt irksome. After our consultation, we went to pick up Mally from kindergarten and headed home. It seemed my morning sickness is pretty severe this time around. Pleased with Mally and everything, maybe I should head to my parents' place for a bit. That might be best. I can manage on my own. You should go. Well, if you say it's okay, then I'll do that. The next day, I packed up and decided to head to my parents' place with Molly. I also reached out to a private investigator. I knew to look into the identity of the woman. Thus, the nurse's story wasn't enough to conclude Ethan was cheating. Besides, I needed to check into the woman's background. While I was away, Ethan quickly moved into the woman's place. Taking advantage of my absence, Ethan quickly began staying over at another woman's house. So within the short span of the 2 weeks I hired an investigator, I gathered plenty of evidence of his infidelity. 3 weeks later, with my lawyer, I went to the apartment where he and the woman were living. These women were living. Both Ethan and his mistress looked shocked to see me. The woman was 22. At first, I thought she was deceived by a man 10 years her senior, but it turned out she knew he was married. I do feel bad for your wife, but you can't help who you fall in love with. Right? It wouldn't be an issue if you were single. What are you doing here? You think I came to see the baby's face with a lawyer? As I expressed my astonishment and mentioned I was there to discuss the divorce. Ethan seemed pleased, and the woman holding the sleeping baby smirked triumphantly. I didn't expect you to bring it up, but this is good. What do you mean by good? I wanted to ask you for a divorce for a long time, but couldn't. For a long time. Since when? I won't hide it any longer. I've been dating her for 2 years, and she gave birth 2 months ago. I wanted to divorce before the child was born and marry her, but I couldn't tell you every time I saw your face. So you've been seeing her for 2 years. I see, and you choose her over me. You have a full-time job and a stable family background. You also have Mally, so you won't be alone if we split up, right? She only has me. And your point is? We already have a child, and I wanted to get married quickly, but then you said you were pregnant, and I didn't know what to do. It's not like I got pregnant on my own, you know. Well, that's my fault, I guess. That's a terrible way to put it. By the way, our child is only about 2 months old, so you'll reduce alimony, right? Why should I reduce the alimony? You are the one who wanted a divorce, so how about we split our savings 50-50 and call it even without alimony? At Ethan's clueless remark, both the lawyer and I exchanged glances. How insensitive can you be? I have Melly and the baby on the way. Do you think alimony is the only issue? Your child has nothing to do with me? But the child will be a sibling to Melly and the one in your belly. Don't you feel sorry? Why should I feel guilty? Guilt, huh? All of this is the result of you avoiding responsibility and procrastinating. The baby over there would have been without a father on the birth certificate, and I got pregnant because of her irresponsibility. I won't agree to any reduction. Of course. I'll also demand alimony from you, the mistress. You'll have to take responsibility for breaking up a family. That's so cruel. You think I'm cruel? Ethan's the worst, and so are you for having a child with a married man. Your child gets to live with his father while mine loses him. You two should personally experience the life that lies ahead. Lily, let's talk some more. There's nothing more to discuss. Please communicate through the lawyer from now on. Afterwards, I demanded $23,000 in alimony from Ethan and a total of $120,000 for child support for the next 20 years to be paid monthly at $400. I decided on a lump sum payment, anticipating he might delay monthly payments given his tendency to procrastinate. Blamed from the woman. I demanded $20,000. She wanted to pay in installments due to lack of savings, but when I suggested, don't we both want to end our ties quickly? She seemed to borrow it from somewhere, to pay the hefty amount of $130,000 in alimony. Ethan had to let go of all his assets. Even if he's being mistreated at work, he has to keep working. But given his character, I wouldn't be surprised if he's considering retirement soon. If that happens, life might become even more challenging for the woman, but that's the bed they made. Said to play him even if he's a procrastinating and irresponsible man. If she truly loves him, she should be willing to face the hardships. As a mother, I hope she pulls through. Currently, I live with my daughter while nurturing the life within me. When my daughter found out the baby was a girl, she excitedly talks to my belly every day saying, "Come out soon." She's also enthusiastic about naming her little sister. Remember, don't become someone who's always sleeping like your father, okay? Every time I see her talking to my belly in such a big sisterly manner, I hope the child grows up learning from Ethan's mistakes. I eagerly await the day the three of us can live together. Thank you for watching the video all the way to the end.